bring in top lawyer Nelson Harvey. Nelson, good morning. Hope that you're doing fine this morning. Are you there?
Good morning, Betty. I'm fine, thank you.
All right, great. Nelson, I'm sure you've been following what has been happening throughout the last couple of days. First of all, your assessment of these mega scandals really that are hitting the country yet again.
Well, it is a big concern that these scandals keep on being repeated day after day, despite the communicated commitment by the president that is going to fight corruption from within. Look, it comes as a surprise when we are told that over the weekend, certain suspects have been processed. A file has been perused and reviewed by the DPP and is ready for prosecution today. The speed with which that has been done clearly indicates, as we have seen much earlier before, that perhaps these investigations could not have been done deeply to nab the real suspects. Look, for instance, NYS 1, it was taken with the same magnitude of speed, but when we saw the issue now being tabled in Parliament, an elaborate scheme came out implicating very key figures who were never arraigned or charged in court. Now we see a repeat of the same. The question is this lip service? Is it a case where they're just scrapping the surface and not getting into the bottom of the corruption circle? For instance, by the time they are saying they are ready to arraign suspects, they should have been in a position to indicate to Kenyans if they have tracked the paper trail of the money.
Nelson, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, Betty.
All right. So you're saying that, first of all, the evidence that has so far been collected maybe could not be sufficient in the proceeding of these cases to court?
Yes, that is my view, because a syndicate of this kind is not one that was conceptualized within a day. So that for the investigators and the prosecution to tell us that they have a cogent case that they can submit to court within a period of reviewing it for only 2 days, I don't think it's satisfactory. We may end up with a situation where certain individuals will be arraigned in court today and tomorrow as they have intended the will, but will not get to the bottom of how these monies were actually stolen. And perhaps the best approach for the government will be first to track and establish where are these monies. Are they in somebody's account? Have they been transformed into assets? Freeze those accounts, take those assets, so that even as you prosecute these individuals, we are certain that the monies that were lost have been recovered. Because prosecution alone will not be sufficient. We have seen those who were convicted and sentenced about a week ago, who were given, let's say, 3 years and a fine. That does not satisfy the demand of Kenyans when a colossal sum of money in the region of billions is reported to have been lost. Over and above taking punitive measures against these suspects, we need to know where is this money, when will it be recovered, so that in future public officers do not replicate what their predecessors have done, as it is the case now.
All right, Nelson, at least for now we know that indeed some of the accounts belonging to some of these individuals have already been frozen. But I'll go back to something that you mentioned when we started our conversation, and you said that, have we gotten the right people this time round? Because, for this amount of money to be lost, there must have been some extremely senior officials somewhere in the government, for people to feel comfortable enough to get paid for services and products not delivered. So this time round, we're talking about close to 54 people. Do you think that we have the right people this time round, or will we just see, the acquittal of certain individuals like what we saw in the last scandal concerning NYS?
I don't think we have the correct suspects. The best practice world over is for the person with the highest responsibility in the ministry to be held accountable. It cannot be explained how a sum of 10 billion can be lost in the ministry, yet the cabinet secretary is not aware of it. And it is for that reason that this current prosecution may end up being the same as NYS 1, because at that particular point in time, the cabinet secretary in charge of that ministry was not pursued, was not held to account. Now, look at the other scandals like the health scandal. Again, they were just brushed over like that. So until there is a commitment by those who want to fight corruption to hold into account the people with the highest responsibility, and the mere fact that they're not doing that, it's a clear indicator to the public that maybe there is no determination to fight corruption in the government at all.
All right, Nelson, finally, there has been a lot of tough talk from literally everybody, you know, in every level of government, of course, from the DPP right straight to the president of this republic. We've seen them coming out and, you know, giving serious warnings to the people who, you know, would be found, corrupt, or have people who will be found like they would have looted money from the coffers. But does this tough talk mean anything really? Because we've also seen this before.
Well, we are encouraged by the effort that the president indicates he has put forth to deal with corruption. But the president must realize the buck stops with him. He cannot be lamenting day after day about rampant corruption in his government, yet it is his government. He should do something more. He should stop employing the individuals who have the propensity of stealing public money. And those who are suspected of stealing public money and are still within his government must be told to step aside. If they don't want to step aside, they must just be fired. Because the mere suspicion that a public officer could be embezzling public funds is sufficient enough for the president to demand that he gets out of office.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Nelson Harvey, a lawyer speaking to us. So, of course, with regard to these corruption cases, like I mentioned,